Darkcast Network. The light shines brightest on our indie podcasts. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this very special end of the year episode of California True Crime. I know it's the beginning of the year, but it's the end of the year for us. This episode, we have some updates on cases we covered this season, updates on some exciting things we've been doing, some information about upcoming episodes, and we're going to play a little game later. So, I'm Sean. With me is Jessica and Charles. How are you guys?
I'm good.
I'm doing great.
Good. Good to hear. We're going to have a good 2022. Going to keep it positive.
Yeah, it's already starting out bang on. Yeah, before we really jump into anything, we want to give a big thank you to all of you who listen, support, review us, and rate us. It's a huge support to us and to the show to make sure that California True Crime gets out there. We'd also like to give a really big thank you to our patrons, Larry, Miss RB, Harriet, James, Colleen, Kim, and Brian. Thank you guys so much for donating to our Patreon. That really does help make the show what it is for research and helping us put together a quality product. If you'd like to join our patrons, you can find all the information on our website at californiatruecrime.com.
So we've got some updates for everyone. A couple of exciting ones. One is that we're part of a new podcast network called Darkcast. Jessica, you have some more information on it?
Yeah, we just joined that for our season 3 is what we're calling this new time that we're entering. And it's a big group of other podcasters, indie podcasters. Some of them do true crime. Some of them do conspiracies. There's someone on health. So you'll be seeing a lot more of us tweeting and letting you guys know about other podcasts in our network that we support and who support us.
Yeah, so if you like the kind of show that we're doing, you might check out some of these other shows on the Darkcast Network, and you'll be seeing updates on our Twitter feed, on our Facebook feed, and we will have a link to the Darkcast Network again on our website at californiatruecrime.com.
But we're super excited to be a part of that network and to be, I guess, I say we're starting season 3. We kind of ended, we've had a whole year, so the end of season 2, and to do some new things. And hopefully, Charles, I know you have some plans to do some stuff with some of the hosts of the other podcasts.
Looking forward to one of our future episodes this season is we'll be working on a crossover. We're going to reach out to some of the other true crime podcasters, and if you follow us on Twitter is really where you may have seen them, because we do retweet a lot and comment on some other posts. But shows like Beyond the Rainbow podcast, which is a true crime podcast that deals with LGBTQIA crimes, also the Reverie True Crime podcast. Those two shows actually started the Darkcast Network. So,
also, if anyone listens to my other podcast, The History of Malls, I have been getting more episodes up again. If anyone cares about the history of malls,
Heck yeah.
We will hopefully be having a technically special California True Crime History of Malls episode in the future of our favorite mall. And so but yeah, if you want to check it out, it's a free podcast. go ahead and listen.
I was excited when the new episode dropped in 2022.
It's good
on my feed.
It felt good to record them again and find some weird. The new episode, I couldn't believe the main store that I talk about, the way that it changed capitalism as we know it. It's very interesting. So enough of my boring stuff. You guys have a big announcement to talk about.
Well, it's our big announcement, but Yeah, we were very fortunate. If you follow us on Facebook or Twitter, mainly if you belong to our Facebook discussion group or your Patreon, we've kind of hinted around this a little bit, but we had a really big end to 2021. Really, around October, I believe it was late October, early November. We were actually California True Crime was contacted by Court TV. And some independent producers from the Court TV that were looking for commentators to comment on a couple of episodes of a new TV show that is starting, I believe, depending on when you're listening to this, late January, early February. So a little bit about this kind of floored us, because I know when the three of us got that email, I really thought it was kind of, I won't say a joke, but it was kind of hard to believe that we got contacted. And we were contacted by independent producers that work out of the Bay Area for a production company called Meg TV. And they were working on helping produce a new show from Tamron Hall, dealing with true crime cases that Court TV actually covered for the public, and asked us to comment on two cases that we actually had not covered yet, but wanted our take on what they have assembled for research, and then allowed us to do some original research, pulling together some things, and then really went from an email to a phone call, and then a couple of FaceTimes, and then eventually it saw the California True Crime team in LA filming 2 episodes of an upcoming true crime show that will air on Court TV.
It was pretty exciting. It was way outside my comfort zone, but it was a lot of fun. And it was kind of cool to cover 2 cases, and we're going to also cover them in the coming months, probably pretty soon, actually, here in our podcast. So you'll hear them from us, as well as on Court TV. If you want to listen to that, we'll make sure everybody gets the information.
We will be pumping the heck out of that on our social medias and our websites.
But it was kind of fun because I got to cover a case that I never would have chosen myself. It involved, because it's a little different for us, kind of a more famous case, and you, Charles, covered a case that was a little less known, so more into what we do, and it was just a huge experience, and we had a great time. Yeah,
as you said, Jessica, it was way out of our comfort zone, but what was really fun was, in one respect, we were doing what we were used to, was, researching and reporting on cases kind of from our own perspective. But what was really fun was, it being Court TV, we got access to a lot of research material that we wouldn't normally necessarily have access to. We had actual footage, archival footage of the court. We had, I think you had, which was really cool, police footage from the actual crime scenes.
Yeah.
And we don't want to give out too much, because we want you to watch the episode, but we will talk about it more and kind of tease out. But
well, and we'll get to share all those details with you guys as well, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah, on our episodes. The other nice thing was that both the cases, one of the reasons why we went to LA was that was where the episodes were filmed, but also both crimes happen in LA. So one of the things that we got a chance to do was actually go and visit and take some of our own photos. So we'll kind of post those up as well. And we got to see sometimes we try to do our best, for things that are a little closer. We've been to a few of the places and trying to represent those as best we can. In this case, we actually were able to go to the places where these crimes occurred and have a really better understanding of kind of the time and place and the communities that those crimes happen into. So we do want to give a really big thank you, not only to the people at Meg TV, who were amazing. That was really cool. Everybody there was super nice and helpful and very accommodating, and for people who had never really done anything like that before. But we also want to give a huge thank you to Megan, who initially reached out to us and kind of walked us through the process. I want to personally thank Chris, who was kind of the producer and writer on the episode that I worked at. He was amazing. We exchanged emails and back and forth and talked about things, and really fun to getting to know these people and work with them.
Yeah, and also Paul and Lisa. Paul helped me with my case, and then Lisa interviewed us. It was really, everybody there was so, because we were really nervous.
Yeah.
And everybody was just so nice and made it just really easy and fun, and we got to do a ton of research and talk and really share what we like about true crime. So
And Lisa's actually the owner and founder of Meg TV, and she was amazing. Between the three of us, I don't know. Had you told many people, Sean?
Yeah, I told a bunch of people right away. I wasn't part of it. So I was like, do you know what Jessica and Charles did? And I was so excited.
Well, first off, that's not true.
Yeah.
They contacted, you say that, but we got contacted as a show.
Oh, I understand that part. I was busy. God, do you think these History of Malls episodes get done just by sitting around?
And I think that was really cool that, that they found us and talked to us and liked what we did enough to comment. It was really cool.
The other thing we want to do is update you on some cases that we've gone over and have some new things that are happening in them. The first is last year we shared with you the case of Denise Lampy, who was murdered in Daly City. There has been a trial going on in that case. I think it started in 2020 at the end of that year, and COVID put a stop to that, and they've been trying to get it going. There's been a bunch of hearings I've attended, and it was supposed to get started again in earnest at the end of 2021 and was halted because now they're questioning whether Melvin Seymour who is accused of murdering her, has the mental capacity to stand trial. So there's a lot of that hasn't been updated quite yet. He's been getting a mental health evaluation. He is very old. We did go over his criminal history in that case, but it is disheartening to think he won't stand trial for this crime, but understandable, I suppose, if he can't. So I will keep people updated with whatever information I can find on that.
And you can find those updates as part of our Twitter feed, our Instagram feed, and as well as on our Facebook discussion group. Yeah, so Jessica, you said and I think this is kind of interesting, you attended these trials in the Denise Lampy case. They're not the first trials you guys have attended. In fact, you and Sean, 2021 was our first year of California True Crime kind of getting a press badge. You guys actually attended a couple of the Scott Peterson hearings this year, correct?
Yeah, those hearings are being held also in the San Mateo court system. And San Mateo set up a system where you could call in and listen. The Peterson case now they do it over a tape Zoom, so you can actually watch it. They haven't set that up for Melvin Seymour's trial, I assume. I think I'm the only person really following that or in there whenever they can when they have a hearing. I have attended most of the Peterson hearings. I don't know, Sean attended
I attended one, and it was a phone call, and it said you will be muted, and I'm like, cool. And then as I'm listening, the judge says, "Who's this Sean?" And I freaked out. Jessica heard it too, but it was something else going on about, I think it was an inmate that jumped on the phone call or the Zoom that they had going, but it really scared me because I couldn't see. I had no clue what was going on, and I thought I was getting called out by a judge, so it was very scary.
Well, I think we all kind of did, because not knowing really necessarily, I was listening to it, but not really watching the screen or anything. And even hearing that of somebody calling out Sean, I thought it was, wow, we're getting recognized by an official court.
Yeah.
Yeah. Luckily, they give you a different number than they give the lawyers and people involved, but it's been really interesting to attend those hearings. The other really big update that I have is for actually one of our cold cases that we covered at the end of the Candy Bullet case. I talked about Priscilla Ann Lewis, who was murdered in 1996 in Crockett, California. And just December, November, they used DNA to make an arrest in that case. It's such a huge deal, and it's very exciting. And unfortunately, the person they arrested, or fortunately, I guess, was already in jail serving a 295-year sentence in connection with other sex crimes. But I know that's been a case that a lot of people have followed, and that her family has been hoping can come to a conclusion, especially her cousin. So it's exciting that, it sounds terrible, but that can come to a close, hopefully.
The family can have some kind of resolution, and hopefully maybe help with the healing process. And
I think that's our first cold case that's really happened with. So it's just good news, and hopefully I'll keep everybody informed if I hear more, if there's a trial.
I think it's another instance of what we've talked about off and on with some of our cases is justice delayed sometimes is justice served, is that they may not be able to, but a lot of these police agencies and law enforcement agencies are continually trying to work, given hopefully they have the resources and the manpower. But
they didn't use genetic genealogy in this case, but I do think advances in technology with DNA helped, because more and more we're seeing police and investigators using smaller amounts of DNA or things that they wouldn't have been able to have seen.
Test a few years ago.
Yeah, within just the last few years, yeah. And I believe that's what happened here. So hopefully that will happen with more of our cold cases.
All right.
Hey there, Rainbow Warriors. I'm CJ, host of Beyond the Rainbow, True Crimes of the LGBT. My episodes focus on crimes committed by and against the LGBTQ community. I've covered cases you probably have heard of, such as Matthew Shepard, Brandon Tina, and the Orlando Pulse nightclub massacre, as well as some lesser-known cases like the murder of Ray Hainish, the Australian gay beat murders, and the suspicious disappearance of Lisa Lynn Stone. I cover cases brought to me by listeners like Penny Brummer, who I believe was wrongfully convicted, taboo cases such as lesbian corrective rape and murder in South Africa, and Pray the Gay Away camps. I discuss gay serial killers, women who pretend to be men to hook up with other women, and trans murders. I'm opinionated and uncensored. I know I'm not everyone's cup of tea, but surely I'm someone's shot at tequila. No matter what your gender or orientation in life might be, please join me as I tackle rainbow crimes in search of unicorn justice. Remember, it's not a crime to be gay, unless you're a murderer.
So, our upcoming season of Season 3, we have been working on some of the things. We do need to apologize that we were supposed to do Chowchilla last season, and we haven't got fully around to it. I know Jessica's been working on it. I haven't been. I haven't had a lot of time. There's been a lot of stuff. We are very sorry that we haven't got to it, and we plan on getting to it soon. Do you guys have other ones that you're working on?
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, in the works is kind of a crossover with some of our Darkcast network members. We're going to work on an episode dealing with the ethics of true crime. There's been a lot of stuff lately on true crime, and there's always kind of this question of what really are the ethics of reporting on crime, and how does what we do as podcasts differ than, say, something like a Dateline or a radio report or a newspaper, and where are those ethical boundaries, and how do we deal with some of the things that we come across contact with, especially as more and more cases seem to be kind of tangentially connected to those groups that are reporting on them. So I'm kind of excited. It'll be a multi-part episode, and we're going to kind of do some history as we normally do. We'll talk about our perspective, and then the goal will be to get some interviews and kind of a roundtable discussion with some of our fellow podcasters. So I'm excited about working on that one.
I have been working here and there on Chowchilla. When we decided to do it, it's something we've been interested in ourselves, but we wanted to make sure we had... surprisingly, there's a lot of stuff to research on it for something that lasts just a couple of days, but there's a trial, and there's this interesting history and laws and stuff. So, we don't want to bring you a case that anybody could do. Obviously, we want to do what we normally do and bring you as many details as possible. So for several months now, we have been researching that one. So we will get it to you. It's coming. Don't worry.
Well, I think the other issue, too, is there's quite a few other sources out there that do it really well. We're trying to work on our own take and our kind of own perspective on it. And with this case being such a big deal in California and touching so many people's lives, and kind of, a lot of our friends and family, and have memories of it. And it's such kind of it really is kind of at its heart a California case that we really are trying to do it from our perspective. And I think that's also kind of hard, is trying to find a new way of reporting something that is so widely covered.
I also have a new episode coming up. It'll be a two-parter that takes part, that that talks about 2 different crimes actually in an area, Garden Grove, California, over a couple of months. That'll be really interesting and give us a chance to talk about something I've really wanted us to talk about because we have some differing opinions here, I think. Genetic genealogy. So that'll be fun.
Yes.
But first, I think Sean you're the first episode up, right?
Yeah, I'll be talking about in the 80s, which is always interesting. But this will be in the Bay Area, and it's kind of a fascinating case that gets more into a lot of psychological stuff that really gets into a nation that kind of got out of control on thoughts during one case, and movies were made of it, and it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one.
So we have that and a lot more on the slate. So we're really looking forward to another great season of California True Crime. And as we're wont to do on our year-end retrospective, Sean is going to read us some of our positive and our negative reviews.
Yes, this is my favorite thing of the whole season. I mean, who doesn't like to read their own reviews, and especially the negative ones because they're fun. But I'll start with the positive ones. This is from Patton 4. It says, professional and entertaining. This group does a fantastic job with their research and presentation. The minutes fly by as I listen to their episodes. Recommend this one to any fan of true crime.
Thank you, Patton. That's nice.
Here's another one from Gray Car Lady. Could not ask for better. This is what true crime is all about. Can't wait for each episode to download. These hosts' diligent research and attention to detail shine through in each episode. Keep up the great work. Now, this one, a 2-star from Anxious Mom 7. Cut to the chase. Wow, these hosts talk too much. Way too much unnecessary detail. I could not even finish the first episode. Thanks for 2 stars. It still helps. This one's from Peyton's Papa. Not so good, 2-star. If I wanted an LGBTQ lecture, I'd search for one. We get it. More true crime. Less pandering to trans people.
Ooh.
Thanks, Patton's Papa. I'm sorry that we offended you by giving you as much information about a case and about people as possible. So if you like to write a review, just like Peyton's Papa, just know that it goes on and stays there, and we'll read it if we want to. So Peyton's Papa, thanks. But those are some reviews for you.
Before we wrap up our year in review episode, I thought it'd be kind of fun. In the past, we've always done something kind of California-centric, talk about interesting things in California or that people may not necessarily be aware of. So what I did is, if you guys are up for this, is I have created a California creation quiz about certain things that were invented in California. And I want to see, as 2 California natives who host a California true crime podcast, if you guys would be able to get these correct.
Okay.
Are you up for the challenge, Sean?
Think so.
So how this game will work is I have a list of 6 questions. I'll give you the question, and then I'll give you the option. So it's multiple choice. It's not essay portion. They'll be about topics or things that were invented in California. And then you guys guess and tell me which one was or was not created in California.
If I win, do I get maybe some California true crime stickers or something from our store?
Yeah, Sean, that's a great point. You will get some swag from our California true crime store. You guys have access to that, so I'll be giving that to you. But if anyone else would like some fun swag from our California True Crime store, you can get to our store through our CaliforniaTrueCrime.com website. Click on the True Crime store that's there and see all of our designs. We have some cool stuff that comes on a bunch of different kinds of products, t-shirts, hoodies, mugs. You can get notebooks. some stuff that was actually, we all kind of designed a few things in there. We have, if you're a fan of our Halloween episodes, we actually have our Halloween specialty designs that are only available through our store or Patreon. And then we'll be updating those actually within the next few weeks with some new designs from this last 2 years, actually, because we don't have our Billy Whack monster from the 2020 episode, and we'll have our Moore's Beach monster design up there for our 2021 episode, as well as a few others. So check it out. It's in our TeePublic store on CaliforniaTrueCrime.com. Excellent. You guys ready for the game?
Yes.
Okay. So first question is on toys. So the question is, which of these toys, there's 3 toys, which of these toys was invented in California? Here's your 3 options.
Okay.
A, yo-yo, B, hula hoop, or C, frisbee, which was invented in California.
I'm going to say frisbee.
Yeah, I mean, there's no like obvious one, you know. So I'll go with Sean Frisbee.
That is correct. However, it is a trick question because all 3 of those toys were invented in California.
You didn't.
Oh.
You didn't. What? No trick questions. That's not fair.
That is fair.
You need the D, all of the above.
No, I
E,
don't
none
need
of
a D, all of the above. It's not one of those kind of quizzes. Yeah, I thought this was kind of cool. The first yo-yo manufacturer was in 1928 by Pedro Flores, who was a Filipino immigrant. And he opened up the yo-yo manufacturing company in Santa Barbara, California. The frisbee was invented by a couple in Southern California and Los Angeles who were throwing around pie tin. I think that's everybody kind of maybe is aware of that mythology. It's actually true. He was selling the pie tins because other kids on the beach wanted to play with it. So he's like, hey, might as well.
It seemed like a beach thing. That's why I said, yeah.
100%. And then even though the hula hoop in a large hoop that kids would play with has been around for thousands of years. It's actually a Native American invention. That the actual toy that we know of called the hula hoop was invented by 2 California inventors. One was named Richard Nurr and his buddy Arthur Spud Mellon, or Melin, M-E-L-I-N. They created this plastic tubular version for Whammo. So I thought was kind of cool. Number 2, we're on to food because we got a lot of food questions.
All right.
So number 2, which of these breakfast dishes was created in California? The Egg McMuffin, the breakfast burrito, or Scrapple?
I don't think it's Scrapple.
I'm going to say breakfast burrito.
Yeah, I have to agree with Sean.
I'm afraid you are incorrect.
Is it because it's all of them?
No, it's not all of them. Nobody likes sarcasm, Jessica. No, breakfast burrito, it first, and again, this is somewhat debated, but it first shows up on menus in Santa Fe in 1975. So they're kind of credited with the creation of the breakfast burrito. But it does sound like such a California thing. No, it's the Egg McMuffin was actually created in California. And it was thanks to Herbert Peterson in a Southern California McDonald's. It was in 1972.
Nice.
Question 3. Another toy question, which of these famous dolls was first created in California? Cabbage Patch Kids, Stretch Armstrong, or Barbie?
Oh, man. We watched that Barbie documentary, and I don't really remember.
Yeah, I was going to say Barbie just because Barbie just seems like the California stereotype perfect girl that no one could ever be.
Yeah, it is Barbie. You guys got it correct. That's great. She was created by Ruth Handler. She was living in Los Angeles when she invented the Barbie doll in 1959. And again, yeah, if you've seen that documentary on that series, was it The Toys That Made Us?
Yeah, I think that's what
on
we
Netflix.
watched, yeah.
It's really fun if you haven't. Okay, this one, there's a lot of food ones. Sorry, you can see where my headspace was when I was writing this. But which of these famous salads were invented in California? We have the Caesar, the Cobb, or the Waldorf.
I think it's the Waldorf, but
Yeah.
it has such apples and walnuts. It has such
Yeah,
California
it seems like a
things.
California thing. Yeah, I agree.
No, that's incorrect.
Is it named after the hotel?
The Waldorf came from the Waldorf Astoria in New York. It's the Cobb salad. Another Southern California invention comes from Robert Howard Cobb, the owner of the Brown Derby. He was working late one night in 1930s. He decided to take a quick break and basically grabbed a bunch of stuff just to throw together in a quick salad. And he combined salad fixings, some leftover bacon, and tossed in the whole thing in French dressing, and added it to the menu shortly after. So that was 1930s. Now there is some question about where the Caesar salad was invented. If you had said Caesar, I would have given you half credit. He was actually invented in Mexico, but the person who invented it worked in a resort, both in Mexico and in California. And so there's some question of whether it was California or Mexico where it was invented. I should have just named this like famous food invented in California, because here's a sandwich question. And if you know anything about California true crime, we love our sandwiches. Which of these famous American sandwiches were created in California? We have the club, the French dip, or the sloppy Joe.
The club, maybe?
Yeah, I want to say the club, just because of the whole Mitch Hedberg skit about.
Oh, it's the French dip. I'm so sorry.
No,
because I only think this because when we were in LA to be on Court TV, we passed by a restaurant and Charles was like, "Oh my God, that's the place where I think you said French dip, but I don't always listen very well to you, so it might have been something else." And I was like, "Oh, we'll go there for sure tomorrow." And then we totally did not go there, and I felt terrible about it.
The answer is French dip, and Jessica's 100% correct. So it's our last day in LA, and we were trying to get out of town, and I don't know, neither one of us know LA really well. And Sean, you couldn't go with us, and it hurt us because you know LA so well and could have got us around. But on our way out to hit the freeway, we saw one of the two homes of the French dip, and wasn't able to stop. So in case you haven't there's Southern California really loves their food. So a lot of these inventions come out of Southern California, but there's actually two places where the French dip is credited. One is Kohl's Pacific Electric Buffet, claims that the sandwich was offered on its menu as early as 1908. And then there's Felipe the Original, claims that it's the owner, Felipe Manito, created it in 1918. We don't really care which one, right? Because the French dip is probably one of the best sandwiches in the world. And we drove by Felipe the Original.
Sorry, Sean, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just got super excited.
No, it's fine.
So here's another question. This one, which of the following drinks was not created in California? So you're looking for one of these is not created. So all the other ones are created in California. So Shirley Temple, the Mai Tai, martinis, an old fashioned, A&W root beer, or Orange Julius. Which one of those don't fit?
I'm going to say martini.
Yeah,
just because I don't know if it's the whole Sex and the City craze, and that was New York. I don't know. It just seems like a weird drink to like the vessel and how much alcohol and the olives, and like you can get poked by a toothpick. It doesn't seem very smart as a California thing.
Yeah, it seems like a drink should have been around a long time.
Yeah, right. Initially when I was looking at the list and putting together the test, I thought, oh yeah, it's totally martini. It's not actually. It's the old fashioned. The old fashioned was actually invented in New York.
So what is an old fashioned? Because I don't drink anymore, and when I did, I didn't drink fancy drinks.
So an old fashioned is usually made with sugar and bitters and water, and then whiskey, usually rye or bourbon, and then you garnish it with orange slice and a little bit of zest. So, and then some people have a cherry on it. So,
so it's a salad.
Yeah, I know.
So it's been around a long time. It's been on bar manuals since like I think the first one I saw was 1806. So it's an old cocktail. The one that threw me was martinis, and there's a couple of different stories about how those started. But most of those stories center around places in California, either Martinville or a couple other places why it was called Martini. And just like you said, Sean, I think it's kind of an odd choice to have considering like, it's olives and the kind of liquor and stuff like that. But a lot of the research I did said that a lot of the legends of how Martini got started, they can trace back to California.
That's really interesting, actually.
Yeah, the one that got me was the Mai Tai, though. But the Mai Tai actually was invented in Oakland at Trader Vic's. Yeah, and so the Mai Tai was invented during the height of the tiki bar phase. If you're listening to this and you're old enough to remember Trader Vic's, and there are still Trader Vic's around, but when like the tiki craze really hit big in the 60s, the like late 50s and 60s and into the 70s, Trader Vic's was kind of a like a bar and grill that was all over the place. They got really big. They had their own drinks you could get and their own like cocktail glasses and the whole 9 yards. And they invented the Mai Tai as a specialty drink for their own bars, and then it spread throughout there. And then Shirley Temple, we're all familiar with, is just grenadine, and traditionally grenadine and ginger ale, which was new to me because I've always had it as a kid. It was ginger ale and 7-Up or Sprite. But it was invented by a bar owner in Hollywood to give to Shirley Temple. It was really given to Shirley Temple. She was a big, huge Hollywood star, go to these Hollywood parties, and all these people are drinking cocktails, and then here's this kid. So he invented this drink specifically for her, which I thought was kind of cool. So not bad. Not as well as I would have hoped California natives would have done, but
there's some trick questions in there. So
two other honorable mentions that I didn't make questions for that I thought were kind of cool. Is a nicotine patch was invented in California, which I thought was pretty cool, and WD-40 was invented in California.
Is WD an acronym for like a name? Is it a shortened name?
No.
Okay.
It has something to do with, it's WD. It has something to do with what it does.
Oh, wooden door. It's just so the wooden door doesn't squeak 40 times.
Water displacement.
Yeah, water displacing spray.
40th formula.
Yeah, to lubricate it.
Man, I wonder what the other 39 were like.
I know.
So thank you guys for playing the California creation quiz.
I'll keep an eye out for my...
Yeah, you won by 1 because you interrupted me, but it's fine.
I know, I'm sorry. I got excited. I was just happy that I listened a little bit.
Barely.
Well, thanks everyone for listening to this, and it's always good to get something wrapped up, and we're really excited about this next year coming up. So we want to thank everyone again, and anyone else want to say anything before we close out?
Yeah, don't forget, keep on the lookout for, on our social medias, at Twitter and Instagram at Cali True Crime. You can always join us on our Facebook discussion group. You can find us on Facebook, California True Crime, and then from there we have a discussion group where we're posting up information and updates about the show. Thank you guys. It's been a great year, even though we thought we were done with the pandemic, but it refused to go away. It's still been a really good year for California True Crime, and I'm really excited to see what the new year has in store for us. So.